Hello everyone, this is Brittany Brown, Director for Employee Development from the Learning Academy with you today. Here we are presenting our first virtual Employee Fellows poster session. Our 2019-20 Employee Fellows are going to recap the development opportunities that were offered to the university over this past year and also share their findings from their research. So I want to tell you a little bit about our learning log if you haven't checked it out yet. On our main page of the Learning Academy, you can go out and you'll find all of the issues that we have so far. But this particular issue, issue 2, we had a fellows issue. So you can go out and find more about the fellows here. And I just want to show you who you will be hearing from in the next few minutes. First, we have Jen Spalazza, and she'll be talking about her Linden Ally Challenge. And then I'm filling in for Betsy Foyts because she is out on leave with her sweet little baby, and I will be talking about her research related to Q2 from the student's perspective. Next, you'll hear from Casey Fennell and the work she did with the DISC assessment and crucial conversations. Then Mike Leary will be talking about strategic communication across the university. And finally, last but not least, Elizabeth Snell. She will be talking about change management and mindfulness at work, all of which is very important for today's environment. So let's get started with Jen Spalazza.
All right. Hi there, my name is Jennifer Spalazza. I go by Jen, my pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm here to deliver an overview of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Employee Fellow from 19 to 20. It's called the Linden Ally Development Project. So we're going to dive in, check out some of the information, how I built it, and then we'll see some of the results. So just a quick intro. Linden Ally was designed for Lindenwood to promote LGBTQ plus allyship amongst employees and students in physical and virtual spaces. Allyship, it's a lifelong process, and it's built on trust, consistency, and accountability. So the work can be very uncomfortable and vulnerable, but that is part of the growth process. And then an ally is somebody who earns the trust and builds rapport with folks who are marginalized, underrepresented, and it's through work to benefit everybody, and the work is very intentional and positive and conscientious. So as far as Linden Ally, the access point was a participation survey in Qualtrics. From there, folks were placed on a team. They were also given a scorecard. So the scorecard that was built out went through a couple revisions. This is the 2.0. And as you can see, there's individual challenges, recruiting challenges. The points for recruiting challenges were actually double for those of individual. So people had to lean into growing the network and recruiting others to join. There was also like participation points, the team meetings. And then at one point there was a need to fill, and somebody was like, hey, there's no challenges on this specific thing. And so I added a miscellaneous Linden Ally challenge section. And so these are some of the example scorecards from my team. I've removed their names, but as you can see, this is how folks can just kind of punch it in and then it totals at the top. So pretty cool there. As far as the infographic, originally the number 8 Linden Ally ranking was at 200,000. I did have to modify that due to COVID. And so it was changed to 125,000. And it's very intentional that anyone, anywhere in their comfort level, they can join and kind of hang out in that space, or they can complete more challenges to grow their number, which is pretty cool. And so that was an infographic to help explain that part. These are some of my references. This is some of the data that I collected from the pre and post test to help folks understand microaggressions and, the importance of being an ally. And due to the results, I'm very confident that 1, folks understood it. 2, it was a really good marketing tool to show the Lindenwood community what opportunities there are out there. And that's where you'll see some of these actual engagements, whether it's attending a drag show, attending a safe zone or implicit bias. The original DEI fellow was Dr. Apple, and she did a great job with her book clubs. So it was really just used to get folks to engage with the opportunities on campus. And as far as who those folks were, very happy to report there's 105 people the participants broken down. There's 56 staff members, 26 students, and 23 faculty. From the pre-test to the post-test, there was a great deal of difference. Some of the canned responses, you'll see better ally, understanding, supporting others. And then once we receive the post-test results, you can see it's a little bit more specific as to how people grew, whether they reconciled their personal beliefs, overcame their fear of speaking up. Can't really be an ally unless you use your voice. Some people even developed their own allyship projects, which was really cool. So that was some of the qualitative data, and this is more quantitative over here. And so 28 folks reached the number 8 ranking. Super proud of them. I oversat my plan. I wanted to have about 100 participants, had 105. I wanted 20 students, had 26. There was a lot of wins on campus, and it was everybody just came together and used the privilege that they had in their spaces to push things forward. There was a Canvas feature with adding pronouns, awesome. Somebody tabled to promote Linden Ally. They also collected donations. Great job, Sarah Leisner, very proud of you. Gender inclusive roster readings were reported to me. I personally helped 3 students change their names in the system so they could see themselves reflected and just focus on the work and not so much the misgendering or the dead naming, that they would see their birth name. And so that helped with letting them just focus on the academics. And that was very important work for me to know whether or not we could do it. And by partnering with multiple offices, big shout out to Kevin Manley in academic services, he helped me understand that process, what we can do and what we can't do. And I would explain that to the students. So that was a big win because we just figured out the right questions to ask. And then for next year, 47 folks want to join again. And so becoming a Linden Ally next year, we're going to refocus our energies, and we're going to focus on being and what it is to be anti-racist in our spaces and really kind of uncover that. So I'll be kind of modifying the infographic as well as the scorecard. Anybody who wants to join, look for that in the Roar or the Digest. Or you can just email me if you have ideas, anything to change, to add, to edit, to make sure that we're really creating safe and spaces for everybody. Very passionate about that. A big thank you to the Linden Ally Learning, or the Lindenwood Learning community. I don't think that this could have happened without their support and just guidance. So very happy to be a part of that community. But please reach out and thanks so much.
Hi, this is Brittany Brown here, filling in for Employee Fellow for Service Excellence, Betsy Foyts. Betsy is on leave with her new beautiful addition to their family, Bodie Taylor. So I get the pleasure of presenting the research that Betsy conducted during her fellowship, and I get to talk to you a little bit about how it is laying the foundation for Q2 Phase 2. So if you remember, Phase 1 was about identifying and acting upon low risk but high yield opportunities to improve service across the entire campus. This next phase of Q2 focuses on you and the role all employees of the university play in attracting and retaining students. Q2 and U will focus on more challenging issues related to service through academic engagement and support, the student experience, employee engagement, cross-functional collaboration, and of course, service recovery. Q2 and U is going to take a collaborative effort from all areas of the university. So, in order to attract and retain students, we need to know from them what they really want. So that's exactly what Betsy did. She conducted focus groups and administered surveys with over 100 students from across different academic programs and campus organizations. She used categories from the Student Satisfaction Inventory survey to guide her discussions and then organize her data. So here's an overview of the research findings. Please keep in mind, this research was conducted before COVID, so some of the answers might be slightly different now. But at the time the research was conducted, campus life was the largest concern for students. So if you look at the top 15 themes, many of those specific themes include food options, residential living, safety, and academic advising. It is our goal that the research findings, in addition to the 2020 SSI data, are both used by university administrators to assist future decision-making and ensure the student experience remains the focus and purpose of Lindenwood. I want to thank Betsy for all of the work she did on this very important project, and I look forward to continuing this Q2 journey with all of you.
Hi everyone, this is Casey Fennell, Assistant Athletic Director for Academic Success and your 2019-20 Leadership and Supervision Employee Fellow. When I applied for this position, I really wanted to focus my project and work on communication, knowing that that's kind of a buzzword we hear a lot about and something we're always striving to improve, not only within our own departments, but across campus as well. So I had participated in 2 particular workshops, both as a participant and a facilitator, that I thought would be super important, and that's what I brought into the area. Disc communication really focuses on how people intake information and then also what's important for them as they give out information. So kind of the giving and receiving of information. And then Crucial Conversations is based on that book, Crucial Conversations, Tools for Talking When the Stakes Are High. And that really focuses on, what's the process for safely navigating these really stressful topics when stakes are high, opinions may vary, just how to really safely and successfully navigate through those conversations. Again, just hoping to bond people together a little bit more and potentially create kind of a common language that they can talk to and converse and say, hey, here's that buzzword, or here's that thing that we do to navigate successfully, or here's that thing that the different communication styles are working on, and can really understand that and talk through with each other. What I did, again, focusing on mostly the staff members to start, just from a lack of time, is I contacted each department head to see if I could potentially come and crash a meeting, let everyone avoid work for about an hour or so, but also give them an opportunity to, for free, bond their staffs together and provide an interactive experience, again, to kind of learn about each other's styles just a little bit more to improve those communication skills. Some smaller units joined in with other units that they either work together pretty well or just happen to have the same free time available for. And again, all participants were members of the Lindenwood community, mostly staff with a handful of faculty as well. So even with the COVID cutoff that happened in March, we were still able to get a bunch of people through the DISC workshops. And for the most part, they had a pretty decent time, or so they said on their surveys. And I think the most important thing that this survey collected for me, I wanted to know, hey, was this worth an hour of your time? And is this going to impact how you communicate in the future? Those were the 2 main questions I wanted to get from the surveys. And it sounds like for the most part, yeah, it really did. And 93% of the people that took the survey said that this will have an impact on how I communicate with my coworkers, which was the main goal of the entire project with DISC. Crucial Conversations was sort of what I recommended as part 2 of the workshops, because, once you figure out how everyone communicates and what information is important to them, now you know how to get through those crucial conversations of, hey, big picture people, they get lost in the details, so don't overwhelm them with details in this kind of conversation and vice versa. We only were able to get 1 department through this, again, just probably mostly due to the COVID cutoff, so it were 2 departments, that is. And we had, again, for the most part, a relatively worthwhile hour for them. And again, most of them indicated that conversation workshop would have an impact on how they communicate with their coworkers. I think that some of the most impactful data that I gathered was the qualitative data on how the workshops impacted folks with their testimonies. And Coach Jen, we have done now 2 years of workshops with her team, and now she's also done it with her coaching staff that participates too, as well as we did it with the larger athletics department as well. So just, again, allowing, us to better understand our students, and not only so we can understand them, but they can understand us, and allowing everyone to just be a little more aware, which is, again, a big part of the workshop too. Same thing here on this other first participant, that, gosh, this is really just making me more aware of things, revisiting my approach when I talk to similar folks who might not be my same style. So the C there is referring to the DISC style there. And then again, in the Crucial Conversations workshop, just again, bringing that awareness of how to appropriately approach these conversations when it's not just an art or just like, it worked or it didn't work, but there's an actual way to figure out, hey, how can we work and make it better? So I will continue to implement these workshops with our student athletes, captive audience, but working with them throughout the school year. But if you are interested or think that any of these things might be good for your team, or you want to learn more about it, because this was just a very brief overview, please feel free to reach out. I'm working on converting these things to virtual workshops this fall, and I look forward to continuing the work beyond and working with you this year.
Hi, my name is Michael Leary. I'm the director of the Office for Research and Compliance here at Lindenwood University. I wanted to share a little bit about the staff fellowship I was able to complete this year with the wonderful support of Human Resources and the Lindenwood Learning Academy. Research, scholarship, and creative activity are thriving at Lindenwood University. Over the past several years, we've upgraded and enhanced our capacity at Lindenwood for more advanced faculty work and student experiences, regional partnerships, and all the tools we need to bring ideas to life on our campus. And this has all taken the collaboration and effort of many faculty, staff, and students from all areas and schools. But one of the barriers we have faced is communication. How do we talk about opportunities well? How do we coordinate efforts to ensure we're leveraging all the expertise we have available in our system and on our campus? How can we build a culture of ethical, equitable, and safe research and scholarship at Lindenwood? That culture of ethical, equitable, and safe research and scholarship at Lindenwood that generates progressive, student-engaged work rather than slowing it down, which is often what happens in compliance environments. How do we share the successes of our faculty and students better? This fellowship has really been an opportunity to step back and work through these very important questions for us. If you take a look at the poster describing activities and findings for the year, you can catch a glimpse of the new direction this fellowship will be leading the Office for Research and Compliance over the next few years. I took a look at current academic literature on organizational and strategic communication in higher education to see how this problem solving has looked in other places. I was also able to glean a lot from this conversation on the corporate side as well. I talked to faculty and students in structured interviews and focus groups. I found our faculty and students identifying the same kinds of gaps in their experiences here at Lindenwood that were common themes in academic and corporate research. We really need to work on engagement, climate, and identity, specifically in this research and compliance environment. To that end, we have a number of new outlets and programs and workshops and all sorts of new tools that you can see described on the poster that we're going to be rolling out for the Lindenwood community. We're going to be, for example, creating an exhibition of the history of science and scholarship at Lindenwood, showcasing advances in science and scholarship that have happened right here at Lindenwood. We'll be implementing a new research, partnership, and innovation lab with news and highlights that will be shared through the new Innovation Hub Digest that you can sign up for via email. We're also going to be hosting a series of ongoing workshops related to grant writing, scientific communication, community engagement, intellectual property, OER development, and all the nuts and bolts of getting our work out there into the St. Charles and St. Louis community. Thanks for taking a look at my poster and the work that I've been able to do over the past year, and please let me know what you think. Thanks. Thank you. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Snell, and I was an employee fellow this past year focused on mindfulness at work. So with mindfulness, I knew that first I wanted to do some research to see what sorts of programs are out there. So I looked at both for-profit and nonprofit companies and other institutions of higher education. I wanted to kind of see what people had tried before, what had been successful, and that sort of thing. Once I'd done some research, I sort of had a plan to move forward with. The first thing I did was to create a mindfulness presentation that had different education about what mindfulness is and some information, suggestions, and practice of how to incorporate mindfulness into the daily work environment. I was able to present to over 10 university departments across campus. And then once campus was shut down for the COVID-19 pandemic, I recorded the presentation and posted it online so that anyone could access it at any time. I was also able to implement a phone extension where anyone from Lindenwood, or I guess outside, could call and get a 2 to 3 minute guided meditation. And what I really love about this is by calling on the phone, It's something that anyone can do, and no one else necessarily knows that that's what you're doing. So say you have a difficult phone conversation, you're feeling a little bit stressed or anxious, you can give that phone extension a call and just get a few minutes to yourself to kind of reset and calm down. Once the COVID-19 pandemic happened, every life was different for everyone at Lindenwood. And some employees got together to create a SharePoint, and they asked me to create a resource page on there about mindfulness, which I was very happy to do. So on this page, I listed some different articles, some book recommendations, some links to different mindfulness activities that they could incorporate from home. And it was really exciting to see the university community come together like that to help support each other during this difficult time. I've also served as an employee resource for a number of different things related to mindfulness. I, for instance, presented to the women's basketball team one morning, and we practiced meditation together and talked about visualization and how, when they're feeling stressed and anxious about a game, what are some things that they can incorporate into that pre-game ritual for them. I also helped someone from admissions who was hoping to support his fellow employees while everybody was working from home, struggling with this new strange world that we're living in. So we talked through some, ideas for what to cover in the group, how to set up the group. And, it's been fantastic to work with different people across campus and seeing everyone have that desire to help each other. And then finally, I will be working with one of the 2020 faculty fellows to implement mindfulness into a couple of different classes that we're trying as a pilot. I myself will be participating in that pilot with my freshman seminar class I teach. We're going to be doing some brief meditations and mindfulness exercises and seeing how that impacts students both in relation to that specific class and with their overall well-being and success at Lindenwood. It was a great honor for me to be an employee fellow this past year. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to develop myself and what I knew about mindfulness and things that could help with the workday. And it was wonderful to see how open people were to receiving the information and how supportive everyone's been in my work. So I want to thank everybody at the Learning Academy for supporting me and giving me the encouragement and time and everything to get to focus on this. So thank you very much.
And this concludes the 2019-20 Employee Fellows poster session. We hope you learned something and are already thinking of ways that you can apply this in your daily life.